there are things known and there are things unknown. And in between are the doors of perception. And the doorways of perception are now open. All around us, there exists worlds of the seen and the unseen. In a universe of endless possibilities, we should never limit ourselves to a single perspective. For in order to hunt the shadows and become true explorers of the unknown and the unexplained, we must sometimes take a paranormal point of view.
Hello and good evening out there in podcast land, or evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you may be in the world. This is another edition of Paranormal Point of View coming right at you, so buckle up, buckle down, and buckle in. We're going to have an interesting ride tonight. I want to welcome everyone gathering slowly in the grotto tonight. It's good to have you all here, friends. Definitely. We're going to have a good discussion tonight. Hello, Midwest and Shiro and Bavaria and Kyle Smith and Anna and Tiger's Eye and Jackie and we're slowly gathering in here. Tonight we're going to be talking about when pets go bad. What happens when your pets go bad? And I do mean evil bad. Okay, we're going to talk about that tonight. Animals can be possessed too. Absolutely. We definitely need to address that. Absolutely. And I'm also got myself on the big screen tonight, so if I'm looking over that way, I'm looking at what's going on over there. But definitely it's good to see. I've also got the comments showing up on the screen for you. So you can see what you put in. I like that part because we get to share the conversation with everybody, okay? Because I'm not that real swift on putting stuff up sometimes. Of course, you know that, don't you? But I need a secretary. I definitely, maybe two secretaries, actually, one for each hand. But anyway, I'm not going there. That's a good joke, but I'm not going there. But anyway, I want to welcome you all in here tonight. We're all anticipating a book that I'm supposed to get tomorrow. I think I'll have a copy of it. So next week at this time, if nothing happens on Paranormal Point of View, I will be reviewing D.A. Wysong's newest book, which I wrote the foreword for. We're going to have it in our hot little hands here. And we're going to be talking about that and doing a review on it. So we don't want to miss that. Monsters of America, the Jewett City Vampires. Okay, you know, it would be vampires. All right, I'm a vampire hunter from way back. Vampires and werewolves are my forte. Okay, that's my specialty. Although you can throw some demons in on that too, or is that all the same thing? That's an interesting thought, isn't it? But anyway, I want to welcome everyone in tonight, and thank you so much for being here. Hello, Jason. Good to have you here, bud. And I want to welcome everybody in tonight, and we're going to have, I hope, a good discussion. I won't hold you up too long, but got a lot. I've got a lot going down next week, so I'm going to be a very busy guy next week. I'm going to have to spend about like 6 or 8 hours in the hospital next week. Getting an infusion. I hope this is some kind of Frankenstein stuff, okay, folks? Doesn't turn me into a monster, okay? I'm a monster hunter. I'm not supposed to be a monster. Monsters hunters do not ever want to become the monster, okay? That's redundant, absolutely. But hopefully I will be feeling better after this. But it's going to be a long drip process. But anyway, hello, Carla, and Pancho is in the house. Hello, buddy. Happy Independence Day to everyone out there. This is July the 4th for all us ungrateful colonists. I've had some of my British friends tell me that. Well, happy 4th, you ungrateful colonists. Yeah, we were ungrateful, I guess, weren't we? Definitely, we wanted to be independent. I put on Facebook today that, if you're waving a foreign flag from another land in America, you need to go live in that place. Because, America is for Americans. We're Americans. We're all one people, one nation under God. And if you're not with us, then, you need to leave. That's my point of view on that. Okay? Absolutely. But I want to wish you all a happy Independence Day out there. Definitely. I hope you had a great time. Hope you went to a barbecue or ate you a hamburger or whatever you needed to do for Independence Day. I hope you had a fun time doing it. Hello, But wish I could have been there with you. But this is the next best thing. Okay, this is a good way to end our 4th, and I'm looking forward to it. And hello, JoJo. You know, um, this is your podcast too, and I say that, and I'm not just joking about that, folks. I mean that. This is your podcast too. This is where you have a voice as well. Don't ever forget that, because I want to make sure you remember that. It's very important. That, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I got you a weird story tonight too. By the way, I got you a good story, good monster story. And it's coming up, so stay tuned for that. Okay. Absolutely. And but yeah, definitely we want to enjoy ourselves and let this be our podcast too, not just me. Okay, you all have a voice here. You all, if you want to come on here sometime, you contact me. Let me know. We will definitely put you on here. Okay. And Wednesday night, I'm gonna have the She Squatchers on here. You're going to enjoy them. They are an all-female team of Sasquatch hunters. And you're going to want to meet them, the She Squatchers. And it's going to be fun. We're going to have a fun time with them, definitely. So Wednesday night on Hunting the Shadows, don't miss that. And of course, my good friend Gerald Fountain and I will be doing another edition Monday of The Road Less Traveled. You definitely don't want to miss that. Who knows what we're going to come up with next time. But we will probably shock. If we don't shock you, we will rock you, right, Gerald? Absolutely. So there you go. Anyway, I sound like a DJ tonight, don't I? Shock and rock and all that stuff. Lord. I had ambitions to be a DJ one time, but never went through with it. I did record several radio shows like that where I was a DJ. I got fired from my job. Uh-oh. Maybe another opportunity's opening up for you there, Jason. But I'm moving forward from here, brother. Well, that's good. Sometimes the door closes so a window can open. We need to climb through that window sometimes. Absolutely. Roger Blair is in the house. Hello, Roger Blair. Good to have you here, buddy. And welcome aboard. We're slowly gathering in here, yeah. But yeah, tonight I'm gonna talk about pets. What happens when they're not your pets anymore? I've been seeing a lot of stuff online, and like Jesse Jones says, TikTok is one of my research facilities. Okay, and I've been seeing a lot of weird videos of people taking pictures of their dogs and cats, and they're not acting like dogs and cats. What's going on here? This is kind of weird stuff, and I've had other reports of people, what's going on with this? Their animals are acting very strangely. Are they skinwalkers in disguise? What's going on with this? Are they being demonically possessed or something? We need to talk about that tonight. We're going to be talking about that, and we'll see what kind of a point of view we could get on that. Absolutely. But that's why this show is called Paranormal Point of View, too. I want your point of view, not just mine. We want to put your point of view out there as well. Okay? So you can watch the ticker on the side and see some of your comments coming up on the screen there, which is good. Okay, that's good for all of you. You can see what your input is, and I can see what your input is. That's the main thing. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. But don't fail to use that. And but like I said, some of the newcomers here want to wish you happy Fourth. Glad you can end the Fourth with us. It will be over here in just a couple of hours. Not long. It will be July the 5th. We're still thinking this will be on the weekend, though. It's still a weekend. Some people will get the weekend off, some won't, unfortunately. CIA is doing some voice skull on pets and tripping them out. I don't know there, M13. It's very strange. Um, I think it's more diabolical than CIA. Of course, the CIA is involved in a lot of that stuff anyway, so that doesn't surprise me. You know, I've told you about that in the past when they contacted me wanting to ask me demonology questions. And so they realize this stuff is real, that it's going on, and they may have opened the door to a lot of this stuff for all we know. Who knows what they've done? And that's what scares me a little bit, you know, because those guys, they don't care what they did. And who knows what they've done. But they're always trying to utilize weapons too, whether they be sound, vibrational weapons, or psych weapons, you know, weapons of the mind. The list goes on and on. Who knows what they're doing out there? And of course, pets would be the perfect thing to experiment on, would it not? When you think about it, you know, that's very interesting. Absolutely. I got my camo on tonight. I've got my army jacket on, and definitely the military is involved in a lot of this kind of stuff too, as well. And think about that. Would that not be a perfect weapon to weaponize your pets against you? That's weird too to think about. Well, you know, think about that dog or cat or bird or whatever your pet is. You love it. You know, it's part of your family. You take care of it. You spend a lot of money on it, time and money on it. I hope you do, because that shows you that you want it and you love it. You know, but you shouldn't have pets if you don't want, take the responsibility for them. Just like children, you shouldn't have children if you're not going to take responsibility for them. But the thing is, that's something that's trusted in your house. That's part of your home life. And if all of a sudden you can't trust that anymore, something is screwing around with it, that's very unsettling thought, is it not? You know? Oh yes, the old hunting hat is always close by. Right, absolutely. Oh yeah, I might wear it for you tonight. How about that? It's a little bit chilly in here. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be wearing this for my monster story in a little while. Do not leave without hearing the monster story tonight, folks. You're gonna want to hear this one. But anyway, yeah, this is unsettling. I've seen some. I'm gonna, describe. I couldn't download any on because of copyright strikes and all this bunch of junk. But um, uh, let's see. Curious as I watched those show Shandy's, you recommend the book Virile Power of the Coming Race. It's fascinating, explains so much. It's online, PD free. Yeah, I've also got it. If anybody wants it, I can send you a copy of Virile the Coming Power if you want to read that. It's fascinating stuff. I sent her a copy of it. I can send you one if you want to drop me a line. Drop me your email address, and I can email it to you. It's free. It is online, PDF free as well. It's a fascinating read. You need to read it. Absolutely. It tells you a lot. Tells you a lot of stuff. But anyway, definitely, without a doubt, there's some weird stuff going on here. People are showing videos of their dogs walking around on two legs, looking very weird, with a weird eye shine thing going on. Cats doing the same thing, acting very unusual and different than the animals that you know. And this is really freaking and spooking people out a lot, And it doesn't surprise me. It's a spooky thing to think about. All of a sudden your pet is possessed or it's not your pet anymore. Here's the thing about it. You go to let your dog or your cat in at night after they go out and do their job, and you let them back in. Is that your pet coming back in? That's the question we're asking tonight. What if it's not? What if it's something else that you're inviting back into your house? That's not good to think about either. And maybe there are things out there in the dark waiting to replace, like a changeling, waiting to replace your pet and come into your house. That's not a good thought, my friends. There are things out there that do stuff like that. Absolutely. They can mimic things and look exactly like your pet. And once you invite them in and let them in the house, your goose is cooked. Probably. There you go. I mean, there's going to be some bad juju go down here, buddy. You got to think about that. That's another thing. And look, I will tell you this, and I know this without a doubt. After all the many years I've studied it. Uh, what really bugs me about this is that, this is quite possible. This can really happen and may be happening. No, I didn't have that happen with any of my pets or anything, but like I said, I've heard about this. And it's a very interesting thing. Be very careful what you invite into your house, even if you think it's just your pet. It may not be. Kind of, I'm gonna say this. You need to kind of check things out before you take them at face value. Sometimes. But if you let your cat or dog back in and they're not acting right, then you probably need to take some kind of action on that. Something definitely needs to be done. Does the white ghost cat still visit? Oh yes. Matter of fact, I saw him today. He's out there hanging around. Ghost comes back and checks in every now and then. Absolutely. Um, that was a weird thing with him. I saw him on one camera. I've got some outside surveillance cameras. I saw him on one camera, but he was completely gone on the other camera. I still haven't figured out how that happened. That was weird. It's a what if scenario when pets turn on. Yeah, I mean, we got to think about that. This is a possibility. Like I say, there are things out there waiting and trying to get invited into your house. And what a perfect way to do that. Trojan horse like thing going on here. You think you're letting your pet back in, and it's not your pet. It's not the cat or dog that you think it is. That's sneaky. That's downright unsettling, definitely. And there have been reports too, and I'm going to talk about this. There's some pets actually turning on their owners. Now, this has happened, of course, in the past, but it seems to be rising a little bit more than it has been before. It seems to be occurring a little bit more. That some people's pets are turning on them. It's almost as if these pets have been touched by the demonical type powers out there, darkness. It's really strange that some of this stuff is going on. But here's another thing, and I want you to think about this, okay? And we talked about this before in other shows. When that spirit that's entered the world now, the spirit of fear and darkness and all that, is also not just touching us, it's touching our pets and our children and our pets and things that are close to us. It's touching them as well. We got to understand that. They're in this too. They're not immune to it. It's going to happen. Pets are becoming more emotionally attached to us. They are evolving that way, definitely. And we are becoming more emotionally attached to them. And you hear all these people talking about, their emotional support animal, their emotional support dog, or their emotional support duck, or whatever it is they've got. You hear a lot of talk about that going on. So we're becoming more emotionally attached, and the demonic sees this, folks. They see it, and they know what's going on with this, and they're saying, "Hey, here's a perfect opportunity." Gus gets mad when I cuss in traffic. Well, quit cussing in traffic. Now, then he won't get mad at me. Okay, he's wanting Mama to straighten up and act right. Okay. Anyway, he's got a hold on. He's watching Mama. Okay. But yeah, I mean, think about that. What a perfect opportunity the demonic would have to get into your life and come into your life through your pet. So we have to be very careful. And you know what? And I've told this to people in the past. It's a good idea to bless your pet every now and then. Pray over it, anoint it with some oil maybe or some holy water. Pray over your pet. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to pray for your animals. I want you to pray for your animals. That's a good idea. That needs to be done on a regular basis. That was not only for you, but for them as well. You know, that's just as important to me as going to the vet and making sure they've got the right kind of food and getting exercise and all that. They've got a spiritual aspect to them, folks. Don't forget that. They got a spirit just like you got. Although it's maybe slightly different. You got a human spirit, they got an animal spirit, but it's still a spirit. If a demon messes with my dog's barking on the wrong tree, huh? Well, hopefully he is. But they're going to do it. Think about it. It's a perfect opportunity to start screwing around and messing with you. So let's be on guard about that. Because we don't want our pets turning on us. We don't want our pets going down the wrong road either. Just like we don't want our children going down or our relatives going down the wrong road. We try to stop them from making the wrong, bad decisions. Well, we need to think about our pets that way too. Absolutely. We need to consider the fact that there are things they are important aspects and parts of our life, and we need to address that and be wary of it and be careful with it. And I got a hat here now, and be careful with it and be on guard with it. Okay, we just need to be careful. I'm not trying to scare you. Although I'm a spooky guy sometimes. I'm not trying to spook you out here. Okay. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just warning you. Hey, this is another area you need to be careful with and you need to watch out for. Damien said he's breaking out telescope tonight and being full. I can guarantee our stratosphere is going to be added with moving objects. All 7 planets are sliding one side of the other plane. Well, that sounds interesting. Definitely. Yeah, I love to sky watch. I have to get my telescope out and try it. I like to do it better in the fall, though. It's a little clearer. Like some of these city lights around here wipe me out. But anyway, let's think about that. Okay, it's very important. Our pets have a big part of our lives. And like I say, we love them. They love us. And the demonical powers out there hate that. They hate love. Don't you understand? They're the enemies of love and goodness and all that stuff and truth and light. So definitely they're gonna hate your pets too. Okay, I mean, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. They're gonna hate them just as much as they hate you, if not more. And they can use them, and they love to go after innocent things. Take a look at your dog, how innocent he truly is. He doesn't really know right from wrong. It's not like you and me. It's not moralistic. He doesn't have morals like that. Although he knows when he's done wrong, right and wrong, he understands that. But I'm saying that they don't have the concept that we have of right and wrong. Moralistically speaking, they just go by instinct. But that's the way God made them, but they're innocent in that respect. They're innocent like little children. They've not been hardened by life like you and I have, spiritually speaking. And yes, that's a big target for the demonic. Don't ever forget that. I've had, over the years, I've had people call me in on a lot of cases to cleanse and bless their houses and stuff like that. And I always include the pets in that. Oh yeah, I have blessed a lot of dogs and cats in my time, folks. Oh yeah, a whole lot. Birds too, chickens, whatever the situation. Um, don't leave them out. It's very important. That we look after them in that way. Absolutely. Joseph says a bad evil entity took my cat when I was 14, killed her. Yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. That's awful. Yeah. Well, happy Fourth, BMR, my brother. Good, happy Fourth to you, and glad you're here. Not home with alarm bell and all, just saying hi. Well, hello. Hope you're having a great Fourth, brother. But yeah, we need not to neglect that. We need to watch out for them. We need to take care. We need to take care of them spiritually as well as physically. Okay, so let's remember that and be watchful about that because it's definitely another weak spot we need to shore up in our quest to be careful against these forces that seek to do us harm and screw up our lives. Says he adopted him a few months ago. He's still 22ish, and poor thing had it rough, broke leg, little shoot up here, eye, and scars all over. Rescue dog. Is that a dog or a cat? There, blue eyed man. I did miss that part. But yeah, um, we need to be careful with our pets. Definitely, we need to watch over them and watch for them. Cat. Oh, that's a cat. Lord of mercy. Sound like he went through the ringer. Definitely. Um, Sure enough. Love an animal evil forces target that strong bond. Absolutely. That's what we're talking about tonight. Yes, sir. You can guarantee it they will try to get to you through that. We talked about dolls, how they can use dolls and toys and stuff like that to form connections with it. They can do the same thing with your pet. Absolutely. I don't care if it's a bird in a cage, monkey, whatever pet you got. They can do it. And that's what you got to think about. Definitely, it's very important. So don't neglect that, and be careful about it. We have to be, I'm gonna say this tonight, okay? And I want you to listen very closely to me. We have to be spiritually strong, folks, not just for our own selves, but the things around us, our friends, our family, our pets. We got to be spiritually strong for them too sometimes. I know it's a big job, but it's got to be done, you know. Damon says doesn't celebrate holidays. We roll with the punches when it comes to the kids. Fun. These holidays are tainted and corrupted with hidden darkness behind. A lot of them are, but we can't concentrate on that, Damon. You got to concentrate on the good side of things and not the dark side. Everything's got a dark side. Everything has got a shadow in this world. That's why this show is called Hanging the Shadows, okay? Everything's got a shadow in this world. And we don't need to dwell upon the shadows. We need to think about the good part, the good things of life, the good side of Christmas, the children like and everything, or the good side of Easter. We don't need to dwell on the dark paganistic side of these things. It's depressing. You don't want to get depressed by that stuff. Hello, Wizard Moon. You don't want this stuff getting you that way. Holidays, especially if you're alone, can be very lonesome. Absolutely. They can be a bad time of the year, and I can see why a lot of people want to avoid them. And then a lot of them have a lot of obligation. If you got a big family, you got a lot of obligation attached to it. I realize that too. But in the midst of holidays, just like any other time, you need to, connect up with that peace. You need to have that peace in your heart and in your soul. That's most important for your well being. Okay, your well being. But yes, you definitely did a good job on that cat, taking him in and helping him and caring for him. If we can't help out the innocent things in this world, what are we here for? I've said that about helping your friends out. The Bible says you don't just only love your friends, you got to love your enemies too. I know, and they didn't like it because Jesus talked about stuff like that. But you got to love your friends as well. Absolutely. And that's a requirement, folks. Sorry, but it's a requirement. You pray for everybody, not just your friends. You want your friends to be okay. You want good things for people that you love and care for. I understand that. But also, you got to pray for those that despitefully use you as well. Yeah, you look at the good side of everything. Yeah, some people only pick out the character defects. That's true. And that's depressing. That's a bad way to live. It's like that old guy. I remember I used to cartoon. Everybody be walking down the street happy and the sun's shining, but he's got a cloud of rain on him when he walks down. That's living in depression. That's a bad way to live. You don't want to go that way. You want to look at the bright side of things and try to stay, happy and not be depressed all the time. Think about the bad thing. I'm gonna tell you what. I have to deal with some bad stuff sometimes. I have my werewolf shirt on tonight, by the way, folks. It's my Rougarou shirt, and there it is. But yeah, you want to you dwell on darkness a lot. It's just very depressing. I have to get away from it once in a while, because I have to deal with a lot of it, and you got to get away from it once in a while and start thinking happy thoughts and start doing good stuff and getting your mind away from that, because that's the way the darkness will do. Is you handle it too long, it stains you. And I don't care if you handle it with your mind or your hands or your life or whatever's going on, it's going to stain you. You don't want that. You don't want that to happen. Okay. It's very important. So that's for your good own spiritual well being. Okay. But as a doctor of metaphysics, I understand the unseen things of this universe. The spiritual aspect of things, and it's very important that we not neglect those. Okay, very important. It is a big part of our lives, and this universe around us is the seen and the unseen things. And we need to understand that. But anyway, let's be thinking about our pets definitely in the future. Just keep an eye on them. All right, and like I said, it would not hurt to get them blessed every now and then. Pray over them a little bit. Anoint them. Make sure they're doing all right spiritually, not just physically. Okay, so let's not neglect that. Let's think about that too in the future. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I've seen some of these videos, and man, they are mind bending. I mean, these animals acting like other than what dogs and cats should act like. Very strange and very unsettling when you see something like that. And some of them, honest to gosh, folks, some of it looks downright demonic. It does. It really does. And you don't want anything like that in your house. I've had people come. Let me say this, okay, before we end this discussion tonight. Let me say this. I've had a lot of people tell me this over the years, where they would have demonic stuff in their home and stuff like that going on. They would say something to me. They would say, Dr. Carroll, I don't want this thing in my house. I don't want this thing in my life. And I tell them that's good. We don't want it there. We want to get it out. It doesn't deserve to be there. It's unsettling you. It's hurting you. It's bothering you. It's almost like a physical infection. We want to get it out. You don't want to live with something like that. You don't want something like that living in your house with you. It will eventually destroy you. That's exactly what it'll do. It'll screw you up big time. There's a lot. I'm gonna tell you something tonight. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something to think about. There's a lot of people right here now tonight in mental wards out there because of this kind of stuff. Some people are 6 foot under in graveyards out there because of some of this stuff. I've seen that with my own eyes. Okay, don't neglect that. Don't brush it off and say it's not going to happen to me. It can happen to you. It definitely can. It can happen to anybody. So we got to understand. We got to be careful with this. I'm not trying to scare you. We don't want to live in fear. Fear is the one thing that these things use against you. Don't fall for the fear. That's a trap. Okay, don't go that way. But you want to be careful and cautious. A wise man and woman is a cautious man and woman. You understand? That's the way it goes. Caution. Careful. Even fools don't rush in where angels fear to tread. Don't be foolish. That's the main thing. Be foolish. Be on guard. Just like, we see nature is smart that way. It takes care of things like that. So we need to be that way too, especially with spiritual things. Okay. But anyway, yeah. I was so scared of that. Aunt Charlie has to be another. Some dogs have, dogs and cats have their own personality, just like people. I mean, they're just like people. I have dealt with dogs and cats enough that I can actually talk to them almost. I can understand where they're coming from sometimes. Absolutely. Although sometimes it's kind of hard to read them. Most of the time, I can read them pretty good. And the longer you stay, the more emotionally attached you get to that animal, the more deeper that communication becomes. It's just the way it goes. And except for you're like my friend Jessica Jones, the cryptid hunter, she has an emotional support dragon. Okay. She's probably out there somewhere tonight riding around on her emotional support dragon. Okay. But I guess that's good too. You know, if you got a dragon, nobody's gonna mess with you. Definitely, that's gonna keep it away. I wanted to have an emotionally support werewolf, maybe. You mess with me, I'll put my werewolf on you, buddy, or turn into one. Anyway, there are rumors about me, but no, I'm not going there. But anyway, it definitely would be something I might would do. But anyway, that's the way that goes. But I just wanted to talk about that tonight, and if they're going to be happy mentally about, sure those prayers have been answered. Well, that's good, Tiger Eye. You know, uh, you know, God wants you to love your animals. See, he that was the first job He gave mankind. Be kind to the animals, take care of them, and name them. Of course, we sure have fallen down on that job. We should have got fired a long time ago, actually, but we've done a poor job on it. And I want to tell you one more thing before we close tonight. When that animal, like Gus or the cats or whatever, looks at you, he doesn't see you. He sees God. You're standing in for God with that animal. That's a very important job. Okay, very very important job. Don't fall on it. Okay, don't fail that job. Okay. Uh, Gus is out with the kids at a Cheap Trick concert. I'm staying in, relaxing. Oh, okay. Anyway, that's the way their cats and dogs see us. They see us, we're standing in for God. They look to you that way. Don't you understand? And that's a very, very important responsibility. Please do not fail that responsibility. It's very important that you take care of them in every way possible, okay? Always remember that. But anyway, that's the thing I was going to talk to you about tonight with the pets. And like I say, I got thinking about that the other day. What a perfect way for the demonic to get into your life if you're not careful. The enemy is always looking for a way in. Okay, it's your enemy. Yeah, it's not just my enemy. It's your enemy. And your enemy wants to destroy you. Corruption and destruction. That's what he's all about. And he's going to take anything, do anything, and that includes your pet, whatever it may be, to get to you. Always remember that and keep that in mind. It's very important. Okay. And but anyway, we've got some weird stuff going on in this world, folks. And I'm going to tell you a story here in a little bit. I got a typical monster story for you. And I don't believe this without a doubt is not real. I mean, I know it's true. It probably is. But I'm going to get into it in just a moment here. But I want to say that right here in the middle of the program that I would like to talk about some of the other in my little network here. Please support my good friend Gerald Fountain and the Midwest Night Watchers. He has a store. It's very important that you check that store out one day. He's got some good stuff. You need to go check out Gerald's store. Absolutely. And check out Gerald's Midwest Night Watchers. The owl never sleeps. That's his motto. Okay. The owl never sleeps. Okay. I gave it to him. Anyway, I think it sounds neat. The owl never sleeps. But check his store out and check out his channel and give him some love. Check out Jessica Jones, my good friend, the Cryptid Huntress. Check her channel out. And she has a store, War Woman Goods. Check that out. Here's Midwest Night Watchers. That's their store, folks. Okay. He's got some good stuff. You need to go check it out. Go check it out and see what you might do some shopping for me while you're there, okay? All right. Birthday's coming up soon. You might want to do shopping for me there while you're at it, okay? And this is Jessica's Etsy shop. War Woman Goods. All right. Check it. She got some real nice jewelry and stuff, okay? She's got some very Native American stuff. Go check it out. I've got some stuff from that shop. It's good stuff. Okay, check it out. And support those. And please support my good friend BMR, Bigfoot in Michigan Rob. Please show him some support. Yeah, I don't know if he's got a store, but he's got a channel. So go check his channel out. Check out Beyond the Box with Brenda, my good friend Brenda. Check her out. Please do that. And my good friend Kenny Lord Starfox. Check him out along with Barb Hartman. I will be doing another episode with Barb Hartman on Nightmare Camp Fuel. Pretty soon we're going to be hooking up to do that. So check her out as well. And we're going to have some good times. And also I got coming up another episode with Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio coming up, I think, next week. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be on. It's going to be late. I'd like for some of you to be there with me. It's going to be kind of late at night, 12 o'clock, midnight, but hopefully we'll get it done. This is Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel right there, folks. There you go. Thank you, Girl Nagon. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Here in the Michigan woods, my rescue cat is now 13 years old. My gosh, cats don't usually live that long. That's amazing. I don't know how many years in human terms that probably is, but that's getting on up there. Yes, and here's my website. This is DennisWCarl.com. You can reach me there if you ever need me for anything. Please check it out. And there's Kenny Starfox. Yeah, he's my vampire friend. Check him out. He has a great show called Midnight Lycanthropy, the Midnight Club. You might want to check that out. But anyway, yeah, I just want to put those things out there for you in the middle here. I'm going to get to my monster story now. And this is a very interesting story. And I find I love a good monster story, by the way. Okay. But this happened to a guy, and we're going to call him Mitchell. Now, Mitchell was stationed in Iraq back in Desert Storm and all that when that was going on, or right after that. And he was stationed in Iraq, and his job, he was in an armored Hummer, an armored HUV, and his job was a gunner. And he had a 50 caliber gun on the top of this Hummer, and that was his job, was, to man the gun. And then, of course, if you've ever seen it, it stands right up over the cab section of the Hummer, and you've got a little, you got some armor around it, and that's where the 50 caliber gun goes. And 50 caliber bullets are like that, folks. They're big bullets. Okay, believe me, they could cut things into pieces. 50 calibers. I've shot one time, and believe me, it was quite an experience. Anyway, you talk about something that they really have a punch to them. Definitely 50 caliber. But why does my cat look behind me so often like there's something there? Well, I'm gonna tell you something, Christine. Cats see things we don't see. Cats especially walk between worlds. Let me tell you something about dogs and cats, okay? The dog is your guardian in the physical world, and the cat is your guardian in the spiritual world. People used to keep cats for one reason only. It wasn't rats. Of course, that's a side benefit. The number one reason why they kept cats, they keep bad spirits away, supposedly. So if you got a cat, especially living in your house, following you around, you ain't got to worry about the bad spirits most of the time, because they will keep them out. That's the way they work. Okay? Cats walk between worlds, definitely. They see things as you can. Dogs can too. They can see things, but like I say, they're more in the physical world, whereas in the cats in the spiritual kind of world. Yeah, they can see and understand. I think they're communicating a lot with their purring as well. You know, if you ever noticed that. Yeah. Anyway, back to my story. Okay, now Mitchell was a gunner, and one day they were going through some part of Iraq, and there was this huge camel herd crossing the road in front of him. I mean, hundreds of camels. And he was hot, bothered. I mean, it's hot there, you know. He was like sweating from the neck on down. He was, you know, drenched and from the neck up. He was done dried out. He wanted some water, you know. He was, you know, he was really frustrated with all these camels. I mean, hundreds of camels. And it was taking them a while to cross the road, you know. The camel herders were trying to get them across there. And finally, uh, he got down, thank God, to the last camel, the last batch of camels. And he noticed something about the very last camel was staggering around and it had stripes on it. Now, listen to this a minute, folks. Camels with stripes? Camels don't have stripes. Camels do not have stripes. What's going on here? You got to looking at this camel. What the heck is going on? And it was moving around, going side to side like a drunk coming out of a bar. And he said, "What's going on with this crazy camel? You know, with the stripes on it? What is this? You know?" Finally, the camel kind of turned around towards him, and he saw on the other side that what he thought was stripes were not stripes. They were legs. There was something attached to the side of this camel. I mean, something very bit large and black with 6 long legs, 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom of this camel wrapped around it. And he said, "What in God's name is that thing?" Now, this is not a camel spider, folks. Camel spiders are only so big. You know, they're not that big. Okay. This is not, and they're not really spiders, by the way. What was this thing? It had only 6 legs. Spiders have 8 legs, by the way. Okay. He said, "What the heck is this thing?" You know? And so the sergeant in the Hummer, he gets his binoculars out and he's looking at this camel too. And he gets up to Mitchell and he says, "Shoot that damn thing. Shoot it, kill it now." So he rests back, you know, he cocks the 50 caliber and gets out a burst of about 6 or 7 bullets. Bam, 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 hits that camel in the side, right? Hits that thing on the side. And all of a sudden that thing falls off the camel and starts running through the desert and is gone. But that camel falls over and is dead. That camel's dead with a big hole in his side. Even they see it when they ride by. It's got a big. That thing was eating that camel alive. I don't know about you folks, but that's the monster in my book. And Mitchell says to this day, no matter where he's at, out in the woods, especially out in the desert, he thinks about that. He thinks and he remembers that there are definitely monsters in the sand. There's your story. True story. Think about that next time you go out to the desert, my friend. Hello, Bigfoot Dwarf brother. Please support him. He has a channel as well, okay? Please support my friend Bigfoot Dwarf. He's my man out in California, by the way. He's my field operative in California. Bigfoot Dwarf. There you go, but what do you think about that? The thing was eating that camel alive. What the heck was that thing? He saw little black curls around it. That thing had black eyes on it. What? That was not a spider. What the heck was that thing? That big. That thing was huge. There's a Bigfoot Dwarf channel there, folks. Please go show him some love and click on it and give him some support, please. He's part of our network there, all right? All right. But yeah, I mean, you never know when you're gonna come up on a monster like that, huh? Would you hate to run up on something like that out in the desert? My God. Something like that attached to your back started eating you. Well, it would not be nice. I love a good monster story. I take out flies and spiders when I can. Sometimes they don't cooperate. Yeah, I like to take them out with a fly swatter sometimes. I have to. I hate flies. Flies are thought to be, I don't know if you know this or not, but according to Jewish legend, flies are a lower form of demons. And I agree with that, definitely, especially the biting flies. But flies are nasty things. They are actually what developed from uh, worms, that eat things. Yeah, that's how they develop. They are actually, from the conqueror worm. They develop. That's their larva of the fly. Is the worms that eat dead things, the nasty things. Yeah, the Lord of the Flies. Lord, that was another name for Satan, Lord of the Flies. Oh, well, bugs have a certain beauty all their own, but it's a very alien-like beauty in many ways. It's very strange. Look at the way the eyes on a spider are. They're creepy looking, but there's so many different facets to them. And they think that the brain of the spider processes all that in a different way than we do. Oh, yeah. Maggots. Maggots eat stuff. They eat dead meat, eat dead people, eat dead things. Did you know that they will take maggots and let them mature into flies, and that tells them how long that a person has been dead? The maggot they take out of a person will tell you how long because they know how long it takes for the fly to develop from the larva of the maggot. They actually do that. I've seen them. I've seen them raise flies in morgues to figure out how long somebody's been dead. Kittens going hyperspace like Chewbacca when the light stretches out and everything speeds up millennium. Like flies look for and want to land on feces as part of who they are. Explains a lot. That's right. I don't want them on my food. No, thank you. I don't want them on me either. Absolutely not. You know what? Somebody once, old man told me, he said, flies are opportunists. Mosquitoes are just doing their own business, But flies are opportunists. They don't care what they get on. That's very true. They also use sterilized maggots to eat away gangrene, and also they use leeches to get blood flowing from one part and another. So if they have to like reattach your hand or arm or leg or something like that, they will put leeches on that so that the blood veins will start transmitting blood and it will keep that part of you alive. Leeches are very important, medical leeches. We used to have those we used to have a whole aquarium full of those things in the hospital pharmacy. Blazer says time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. Yeah, they always like bananas and other things as well, not just bananas. But yeah, definitely you can learn stuff from insects and animals and stuff like that. Absolutely. But I gotta tell you another quick story. I got a demon story for you. Okay, it happened to this woman. She's a real gutsy kind of woman. I like a woman that's strong. I don't like these, clean vines. I like a strong woman. And this woman was leaving Walmart one night. She had to do something. She needed something. Had to go to Walmart like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And she's leaving Walmart and she goes back out to her car and she's looking through her iPod to see play some music on the way home or something. And she looks up and sure enough, there's a creepy guy sitting over there in a green car looking at her. And he sort of got dark hair. He looks kind of a little, maybe Hispanic or dark skinned a little bit. But he's got creepy looking eyes and he's just sitting there staring straight at her. Well, she's like I said, she's a strong woman. She doesn't spook easily. So she says, maybe it's time for me to leave. So she locks the doors on the car and she backs the car out and starts out of the parking lot. Sure enough, he's following her. And he starts following her down the road and where she's going. And it's not, he's following and eventually it's very obvious it's not just a coincidence. He's following her. And she starts driving. She says, "Well, heck, I'm gonna head toward the police station. There's a police station not that far away." She said, "I'm going to the police station." And here's another weird thing she noticed that out on the street that night there was no other cars. Usually there's some cars and stuff moving around. Nobody. It's almost as if she's driven into another dimension or something. She's in another reality by herself. Her and this green spooky looking car that's following her. And she's getting really freaked out about it. And so she finally makes it to the police station and pulls in the parking lot of the police station. That car goes on by, and she knows where it's going. It's going down towards a dead end. He's gonna have to come back, and so keeps sitting there waiting and watching for him to come back. And she keeps sitting there 5, 10 minutes. He doesn't come back. So she pulls the car out and goes and looks down there. She pulls it out of the parking lot. Looks, he's nowhere. He's gone. And then she remembers something really freaky about this whole thing, not with just the creepy eyes. And he was looking at her all the time, following her and all that. It wasn't just that. She doesn't remember hearing that car making any kind of a noise, the tires screeching or anything. It was completely deadly silence. She remembered that. She doesn't remember hearing an engine or anything. So she goes home. She goes home and calls tells her boyfriend, said, "I got to come see you. I had a bad incident. I had something bad happen tonight." I mean, she's really freaked out about it. So he says, "Yeah, here, come on over." So she said, he asked her, "What happened?" And she tells him, the whole incident. She tells him about the creepy looking guy with the long black hair and the weird looking eyes. And all of a sudden, he has a friendly look and he says, describe that to me again." And she describes again, what he looked like. And he's got a weird looking face. He said, "Honey, I got something to tell you." He said, "Back before we met, I was dabbling in the occult. I was messing around with some stuff. I don't do it anymore." But he said, "I had a demon, a familiar demon. And he would always appear to me as a Hispanic looking man with long black hair and dark, crazy eyes. And he would follow me around." He told her the demon's name. I said he would follow me around and watch over me and stuff. And he said, maybe somehow or another, since you were, with me and we're, boyfriend, girlfriend, he's watching over you too. Well, this really freaked her out. And not long after that, she broke up with this guy. But she says to this day, sometimes she still sees this guy once in a while with a long black hair and a real weird looking eyes in a crowd somewhere, or maybe in that green car again, out there on the highway somewhere. Watch out for that, folks. Absolutely. Is that creepy or what? But that was I thought a very weird story. Demons will be about their time. Sometimes they can attach to you, absolutely, and attach to people that you know as well. The pow pows is not. Oh god, they're gonna be popping firecrackers all night. That's that's the one thing about that. Poor dogs have a hard time with those stupid fireworks. That's the way it goes. I think individual fireworks should be banned. They should only be put on by companies and professionals These people buying up all this junk and popping them out on the street, doing all that stuff. They set people's houses on fire sometimes. They're really stupid how they do that stuff. I think they ought to ban that and just have it only for professional, stuff. Crazy. Yeah, but anyway, I want to say something tonight before I close. I want to say something. I'm not trying to be down about this, but it's something really bothering me, and I want to kind of get it off on my chest a little bit. But I'm gonna say this to everybody. I know that probably I'm not one of your favorites. I'm probably not one of your favorites. Definitely, I'm sure of that, and that's okay. I mean, that's your own personal choice. But I've noticed that there's been a decline in a lot of support for my shows here. Why I don't know, but I noticed there's been some decline, and I want to say this that there are some people out there that I know I'm not your favorite, but they're I don't know. It's kind of unfair sometimes. Some people seem to have their favorites and do more for other people. I don't know, but um, here's the bad thing about it, and this is the way I look. Life is a two-way street, my friends. If you can't, I'm not just saying this tonight because I'm also, I want to be treated better than anybody else. I don't. I want to be treated just as good though. And people should be very careful about how they do that, because um, some people, they do more for others. They like them. I understand that. But if you can't be fair with one person, you shouldn't be that way with anybody else. What you can't do for one, you should not do for another. And that really bugs me because I've never been that way. And I've always tried to treat everybody fairly, you know. And I'll say this, I have been there for some people. I've been there when they weren't there for me. And I'm tired of that, actually. I'm tired of that. And I'm thinking, in the future, if you can't be there for me, I'm just not going to be there for you. I'm sorry, but life is a two-way street. And if you can't be fair with people and treat people right, the right way, uh, I I don't know what to think about it. But like I say, I don't want to be treated better than anybody else. I do not want to be treated. I want to be treated just as good, though. I don't want to be made a second class citizen or somebody's throw off thing there, I mean, I want to be just as good as anybody else. And if you can't treat me that way, then you got the problem, not me. You got the problem. But yeah, I've been there and I will be there for some of these people who have been there for me. But the people that's not there for me, hey, got bad news for you. I'm not going to be there any longer for you. I'm sorry. But life is a two-way street. And that's only fair. If you're not going to treat me fair, why should I be treating you fair? If you're disrespecting me that way, and that is disrespect, by the way, if you can't treat everybody the same way, if you can't do for one person what you do for another, then what's the problem? What's going on with that? But anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because that happens a lot. It is a betrayal. That's what it is. Definitely, Damon. It is a betrayal. They are stabbing you in the back. If they'll do more for somebody else and not for you, that's a betrayal. That's the old stabbing you in the back with a knife routine. And the bad thing is, I was there for these people, but they definitely wasn't there for me. You know, I was willing to go the extra mile. You know, I'm not talking about any of you now. I'm just talking about there's some people like that. But I just want to get that off my chest. I mean, why should I be there for them if they're not going to be there for me? I mean, do you feel the same way? Do you look at it the same way? Because I said that's the way it's going. But anyway, that just bugs me. It bugs me, because I try to be good and fair and honest to everybody. You know, That's just me. And when I say you're my friend, I don't just throw that word out there. It means something to me, you know? And to have your friends, people that you thought you could depend on, betray you, stab you in the back, and work against you, that's not good. That's not good. That's not a friend. That's an enemy. Okay, no matter which way you look at it. And although we need to keep an eye on our enemies, we don't need to buddy up with them. And definitely, that's the way it goes. But I'm not trying to be, smart about it. You understand where I'm coming from. But I mean, I have been there for them, but they evidently, definitely are not there for me. So, I'm tired of banging my head on the wall. I'm tired of banging my head on the wall. For what? It's only hurting my head. Okay, that's the way that goes. But yeah, well, I'm not just talking about subscribers, but that goes too. That happens too. There's a lot of the girl on concert. I've been stabbed in the back many times. Yeah, and overlooked. Yeah, it happens, and it's discerning when it happens. But we don't need to. I know they're gonna do that, but we don't need to put up with the abuse. We say, hey, if you're gonna be that way, you go on down the line and do something else. Don't do it on my time. Don't waste my time. And like I say, if they're not gonna be there for you, really there for you don't need to be there for them. You got no requirement to be there for them, my friend. Okay, just look at that. That's the only thing I wanted to get across tonight with that. Okay, but and well, sometimes I'm gonna tell you something, and you need to watch it very closely. Sometimes you can get unsubscribed by YouTube. Why? I don't know. It does that, but it does. So if you start getting where you're not notified of an upcoming show, that's a telltale sign. You need to check, make sure you're still subscribed. Okay, I just want to warn you about that because I've heard a lot of people have had that problem. You hear those fireworks in the background. They got more money than they got brains, unfortunately. But anyway, that's the way it goes on the 4th of July and Christmas and Halloween and on and on and on. Yeah, that's right, girl. Make sure you're still subscribed, okay? The devil is definitely in the details. He lives in the details, John. All the time. He lives down the bottom of rabbit holes, too, sometimes. I'll stop being available. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bang my head against the wall. If you're not there for me, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be there for you. Life's a two-way street. Some people see it only as one lane going one way, their way. But I'm sorry, I got bad news for you. It ain't that way. I tell you, that's exactly right, Rhonda. I hate fake people. Fake people, I cannot stand. If you ain't gonna be real with me, you go on somewhere else. Okay? Because I only want to deal with real people. Okay? People, you know where you stand. I'm gonna tell you what. For many years, my own personal history, and I won't get into that tonight. I have to tell you all about it some night. But I have a very bad trust issue because of the way I've been done. Okay, you can be burned on only so many times, and then you got kind of leery of the fire. You know what I mean? And I've been burned a lot, and I know I have those trust issues, and I have to watch it because I don't want to ever put myself in that position again. And I refuse to do so, you know. But it's bad. It's a bad situation, no matter which way you look at it. But yeah, if you ain't gonna be real, go on and do something somewhere else. Don't bother me. Don't waste my time. You know. Um, that's one of the main things about being my friend. If you're gonna be my friend, you gotta be real. Okay, not fake, not just smiley, smiley. It's one thing to smile, say, "Oh yeah, I love you," and stuff, and then they talk about you behind your back or cut you up the back when you ain't there, or they only friends when the weather's fair and not when it's stormy. Those are not real friends, my friends. Absolutely not. They don't waste your time with people like that. Please don't do that. No. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out. That bugs me. But like I said, I'm tired of banging my head against the walls. You're not gonna be there for me. I'm not gonna be there for you. I'm sorry, but that's it. You might as well get used to that. That's the way that ball's gonna bounce. That's right, John. Life's too short for this nonsense. Time is valuable. Don't waste it on people like that. Nope. But I appreciate you all listening to my ranting tonight. But I hope you enjoyed the stories and all that. And um, I try to make the shows entertaining for you. Hopefully informative. I like to be informative. It's the teacher in me. Okay. Um, I like to teach and transfer information to people and get them to understand things and see things from different paranormal points of view. And it's very important that we do that because life is an ongoing learning process. I've said that before, I'll say it again. You quit learning, they might as well shovel dirt in your face. You ain't worth nothing to nobody, okay, when you quit learning, especially not to yourself. And I like to teach people things and try to inform them and tell them what's really going on in this world. And, if you don't appreciate that, I'm sorry, that's your problem. Um, but anyway, um, that's just me. Yeah, that's true, Gary. You can only give so many chances to people, and that's it. That's the way it goes. Absolutely. But anyway, but like I say, if people can't be fair with you, they treat somebody else better than you. They're showing you that what they feel about you. Yeah, you got to remember that. It's very important. They're saying, "Oh, well, you don't matter as much as this other person." That is not the way to deal with people. You need to be fair with everybody right across the line. If I can't do something for somebody, then I'm not going to do it for you. If I do it for you, I can do it for somebody else too. That's the fair and honest way to be with people. But when they do you that way, and they say they do more for somebody else, they're showing you exactly how you fit in their life, and it ain't good. So you're being disrespected big time. Don't you take that, my friends. Don't you take that off of nobody, because that's real disrespect. Okay, they're just showing you that, hey, you don't matter. You don't matter to them. And if you don't matter to them, they ought to go on off and be something somewhere else and leave you alone. Because that's the worst disrespect of all. You know? That's true. If you don't have disrespect for others, you can't have any self respect for yourself or nobody else for that matter either. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Gina. I thought, an interesting monster story. I wouldn't want to. I don't think I'd want to run into anything like whatever that thing was. That's bad news. Eating a camel alive, my God. You know how big camels are? That was a pretty good sized camel. But, when I first heard that, I thought, got stripes on a camel. I never heard of that. It wasn't stripes, it was legs. That thing had wrapped around that camel all the way around and was feeding on it. That sounded like some kind of sand crab or something. I don't know what the heck that thing was. That's a monster in anybody's book. That's definitely a monster. I may have to put that in my next book too. That's an interesting thing. I don't know what we'd name that thing, a sand crab or a sand monster or something. But anyway, a lot of weird things happened in Iraq. I've got some other stories about that. I had a friend who served in Iraq, by the way, who was wounded over there. I've had a lot of interesting military stories given to me over the years. There's a lot of weird, wacky stuff went on over there, especially around Babylon and Mesopotamia and all those places back over there. The monster from the movie Dune. Yeah, it sounds like it. I don't know. That's weird. But there's a lot of things in this world, you know. People don't realize there are monsters lurking out there, definitely. And what happens when you run into them? Call a monster hunter. There you go. Right off the bat, call a monster hunter. Somebody asked me the other day, so what do you, by the way, what do you take hunting with you? Now, if I were going to go hunting monsters to actually kill them, and I don't think too much about killing them unless you absolutely have to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out to get trophies. Okay. Uh, I would take my 10 shot 12 gauge pump loaded with hollow point slugs that will take an elephant down, my friends. That's rough stuff. That will take an elephant down real quick. Absolutely. Okay, Justin, welcome back. But anyway, I appreciate you all being with us tonight and listening to this old man's stories and touching bases with us and be watch those pets now. Watch them close. Be careful with those pets, you know, and make sure they're okay. Everything will be going along fine there. Absolutely. They paralyze a bug, stick it in the hole and all that. Oh yeah, there's a dirt daubers do that. Dirt daubers attack spiders and put them. They will use them. They will eat them later on. They stick them in their little holes in their nests, and they will come back and do that. Well, thank you, Kira. Thank you for that sticker, dear. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's time for me to start trying to make my quota for this month. So thank you. That's a good way to start off with. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we put that up on the board there. Thank you so much. If I can put it up, it then went past me there. Here we go. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Um, yeah, time to start making the quotas for the month here. But a lot of expenses going down on that. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, girl, they're gone. 9.95. Thank you. I appreciate that, dear. She is also one of my field operatives. Definitely. And thank you so much for that. And also, my good friend Juno. This thing is slow tonight. Thank you, Juno. I appreciate that, brother. So much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, I appreciate that. That will help the quota out there, definitely. And I appreciate it so much. Yeah, time to make the bills again. Absolutely. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you all so very much. Definitely. Thank you, Danette. Thank you, Danette. Thank you so much, dear. I'll put Danette up there. You better go to heavy bus with your nod. Thank you, Damien. I appreciate that also. Thank you all so much. I appreciate all of your support. It helps me out immensely, definitely. And like I say, I don't know what's going on. I think it's summertime too. A lot of people, are not watching for the summer and all that stuff that's going on as well. But anyway, yeah, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I appreciate you all so very much, and your support is tantamount. It is great to have you with me. I appreciate everything that you do for me. Okay, trust me, I really do, and, from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you all for your support. It means a lot. And be watching next week now Next week, I'm going to have the she squatchers here. You're going to like these gals. Okay. I like them already, and I ain't got to talk to them yet. The she squatchers. All female monster hunting team here, okay? There you go. And we're gonna touch bases with them, I hope. We'll get that done. And don't forget to be looking for D.A. Wysong's Monster Hunters of America book with yours truly doing the foreword in it. It's gonna be out tomorrow. I'm supposed to have a copy tomorrow, and so I will definitely be reviewing it next week. Okay, and please support her. And it is already, folks, a best-selling book. How about that? Wow, huh? Okay, it's already best-selling and all that. Thank you, Juno. Thank you, Bigfoot Dwarf. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. Black Blue Eyed Bandit. About skip to one wins. Yep. That's right. We do have a membership club if you want to join and become a shadow wolf. You know, I had somebody ask me about my bracelet the other day. It's got that's my wolf's head bracelet. That I wear all the time. Uh, it's got the head of the wolf on it, and somebody asked me what is that the other day. I was explaining it to them. I'll take it off one day and show it to you. Darn thing's hard to get off. But anyway, uh, I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight, Touch of Bases. Hope you enjoy the stories and the talk on that. Oh, Lady BR. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that $15 sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Kyle. Thank all of you. And well, thank all of you for being here tonight. And like I said, this is your podcast too. Okay. And if you ever want to come on, all you got to do is say, hey, Dennis, put me on, and we'll set it up. If you got a story you want to tell or experience that you've had you want to share with us, we're all friends here. Okay. We share our stories together. We share our problems. We share our thoughts with each other. That's what friends are for. And it's just this is a group is just like sitting around the table drinking coffee and talking. I think it shows that you're afraid of the dark. Oh yeah, those were great. M13, they were one of my favorites. They had some great stories. Absolutely. um are you afraid of the dark? That was a great show. Absolutely. And a lot of great stories were told on that. Absolutely. I was thinking about one of my favorites. I don't know if you remember this. Was the phone police. If you mess around with the phone police would get you. That was a great one. And what I liked about Are You Afraid of the Dark? It went over not just in spooky kind of stories, monster stories, but it went over into science fiction some too. Wild stuff. It's available actually to be able. You can watch it on I think Prime TV, Amazon Prime. It's got it. What about your hat? What kind of teeth adorn your hat? Those are alligator teeth, my friends. An alligator was not happy when I took them either. uh, he wasn't real happy about it. And now on the back of the hat, I have the rattlesnake rattles hanging back there. So that's my monster hunting hat. It's my lucky hat. And on this side, I've got, as a matter of fact, I've got a little medallion of the 7 stars of the 7 archangels hanging on the hat there, by the way. And of course, the band is leather with the alligator teeth on there. So if you see a toothless alligator and he's looking for me, you haven't seen me, okay? You don't know where I'm at. He was not happy about it, but I can't blame him. But thank you all to the 7 archangels. I know mainly of the 4. There were 7 archangels just now. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I had actually, I think, and I found it today. I have 3 of those medallions left. So if anybody out there wants, decides they still want one for $15, I will turn it loose for you. I still got 3. I didn't know I had 3. I thought that was all I had. But if you decide you want one, you better speak up quick because they will be gone before you know it. And uh, I bruised my hand up the other day. That's one of the bruises you see on me. I got to quit wrestling those kangaroos. They can get vicious sometimes. But thank you all so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight. It has been a great hour and a half, and I thank you all for being here. And please support those people I mentioned. Midwest Night Watchers, Jessica the Cryptid Huntress, BMR, Beyond the Box, Kenny Star Fox, Bigfoot Dwarf. These are all part of my network. Please support them. Danielle Borzon, another good friend of mine. Please support her. And Heidi Pop, please give her some love as well. These are all some associates of mine. And uh, please support them. Okay, please go check them out and show them some love. Join their things. Do shop in their stores, whatever you need to do on that. Okay, but do it. I'm gonna be try to very soon open my own store, so I will be advertising that. And no, I won't take personal checks. Okay, but anyway, I will be advertising that pretty soon as well. So when I get that set up, I got to get it set up. But I've just been so busy here lately. I'm gonna tell you, all these medical issues and all this stuff coming up, and trying to write a book at the same time, which has really slowed me down. Something seems to always come along to keep trying to slow you down from doing what you want to do. But anyway, that's life. But I appreciate you all so very much. Believe me, I do appreciate so much your support. That's really helping me out a lot. And I really appreciate it. And like I said, I don't know what happened last month. I was $100 off last month. And this is helping me out a whole lot. And I really do appreciate it. And yeah, don't forget to leave a comment after the show. Don't forget to ring the bell. And put a comment in because that helps the algorithm. Okay, if we don't do that enough, YouTube will come down and start breathing down my neck. Okay, so it's very important that you leave some comments after the show. Okay, very important, and it keeps me out of YouTube jail. Okay, you don't want Dennis to go to YouTube jail. Okay, we don't want that. No. But I thank you all so very much, my dear friends, and you are my dear friends. You are my family, okay? We are family here. We are the Shadow Wolves. We hunt the shadows, okay? And that makes us special. Very special, okay? Absolutely. Don't you ever forget that, okay? And I will be doing a video for the members very soon, okay? If you're not a member, you might want to think about it. I've got some more stories, case histories to share with you, and some other neat stuff. So I'm coming down the line with that, and also I'm going to start back up doing the scary stories by candlelight. You want to be watching for those. Those will be on Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. Okay, scary stories by candlelight. And I do some good ones, man. Oh yeah. I do some scary poems and stories, so you like that. And they're very short, so they don't take up much time. Okay. I know your time is as valuable as mine, so I try not to bore you and take up too much of your time. Okay. But anyway, I appreciate you all so very, very much. Take care of yourselves until we get together. Keep that head on a swivel and eyes on your sick. Okay. Be very careful out there. The world is not what it used to be. Things are changing, and we've got to be aware of that, and we've got to change with it for the good, not the bad, for the good. Okay, and it's very important we do that. It's scary stories by candlelight, Joanne. There's a bunch of them already on the channel. If you'll go to the library, please go check out my library. I got movies on there. Movies you can watch, and I'm talking about Hollywood movies. I've got some good movies on there. I've got one about Skinwalker. Great movie about Skinwalker. And great. You need to go watch it. They're on there for you to watch for free. So go check out the library. They're all on there, and the scary stories by candlelight. I'll tell a bunch of them on there, and I'm gonna be putting some more up on that as well. Okay. So please take care of all. Please take care while you're out there, all of you, and be careful. And like I say, we will get back together again here Monday, hopefully, with the road less traveled. And my good friend Gerald Fountain will be coming back at you. Okay. Well, I appreciate you all so very much tonight. Thank you for being with us. And walk in the light, my friends. Stay out of the darkness. Walk in the light. And faith over fear. Okay. That's one thing we got to always hang on to. Be careful out there. Godspeed until we get together again. And until next time, I will see you in the shadows.
I walked in a room cold as the tomb. Ghosts whispered secrets of doom. Eyes wide open, felt the gloom.